Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today we are finally getting to my 2025 wrap-up. Is it January 13th today? Yes. But you know what they say, better late than never. I don't know who they is, but shout out to them. You've seen these videos before. We're just gonna sit here and yap for a little bit about my favorite 2025 reads, favorites, how many books I read, you know the deal. And then at the end, we'll discuss a little bit of my 2026 reading, what that's gonna look like. And hopefully what this channel will look like, I don't know. I can't promise anything. Also, I'm having a bad hair day, so I threw on this hat literally just to film, because I wasn't gonna attempt anything. Also, it's like, it's not really cloudy, but like the sun's just not out, so I have to use this other light. And I'm not really liking the lighting, but it's either that or sit in the dark. Oh, there's the sun a little bit. Anyways, let's get on to this 2025 wrap up. So let's start with how many books I read. According to Goodreads, I read 109 books. Of a goal of 40, that goal changed like 5 times because I kept hitting it and I was like, man, it's really early in the year. But then I stopped changing it after 40 and just read, because if I kept changing it I would have stressed myself out. But yes, I read 109, and like 2 days before I like rechecked it, it's at 111. So I don't know what happened in those 2 days that Goodreads said you actually read 2 less books. I'm just going with 109. So read 109 books, really good books, most of them. Out of that, not counting rereads, because I did reread, I reread 6 books. This is going to be all over. My ADHD has been really bad lately. And I'm unmedicated. Out of the 109 books, 28 were 5 stars. But I'm not counting my rereads, because my rereads were pretty much all 5 stars. And I reread 6 books. Most of them were the Windy City series, which you kind of can see behind me. I reread that whole series because of Rewind It Back coming out in 2025. Love that book. And then I reread Heated Rivalry and The Long Game like 3 times. I wish that was a joke, but it's not. And out of the 109 books, 30 of those were new releases. If you see me keep looking down over here, it's because I wrote everything. I put everything on my iPad. I can't remember all these numbers. So yes, 30 new releases I read this year. Can't name them all, because we'd be sitting here forever. Some of my favorite authors I read this year. We've got Chelsea Curto, Liz Tomforty, Elsie Silver, Devney Perry. I read quite a few books of hers this year. Tegas Gurma, I read a really good book by her. I need to read the 2nd book in the series still, but I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to that. Jessica Peterson, Peyton Corinne, Allie Hazelwood, Rena Kent. Amy Tintera, I read a really good book by. Sarah J. Maas does have some good books. Emily Henry I read this year. I mentioned Allie Hazelwood before. I read my very first Allie Hazelwood books this year. Very excited. In 2025. And I'm gonna read more of her this year. I'm very, very excited. Let's see. I did read some Lauren Asher and Anna Huan this year. So I read some Morgan Elizabeth. I need to diversify my authors this year. I do gotta say. That's one thing I am wishing for. Or gonna work towards. So yeah, those are just some authors. I think my favorites probably Chelsea Curto, Elsie Silver, Liz Tomforty, Devney Perry would probably be my top authors this year. The honorable mentions being Tegas Gurma, Jessica Peterson, Peyton Corinne, Allie Hazelwood, Rena Kent, just so we don't get too out of hand again. I did a mid-year check-in this year. I have a video for that posted if you want to go to my channel, check that out. I did more in-depth of the mid-year, so I'm not going to go too much into detail, but I thought it would be easier. Instead of picking out all of my favorite books of the year, I just mentioned my favorites from my mid-year check-in and then my favorites of the second half of the year, because I'm very indecisive. And if you were to ask me to come up with this list in like 6 months, it'd probably be a different list, because I'm always changing my answers. But my favorites from my mid-year check-in, let's start with those. First, we have Sheila Sparrows, Devney Perry. Probably my favorite romantasy of the year, I do have to say. And I'm very excited for Rites of Starling. Comes out like 3 days after my birthday, so it feels like a little birthday treat, little birthday gift to me. I just love this book. Also, it's gorgeous. If you haven't read it yet, please do. As I said, probably my favorite romantasy of the year. And then this is probably my favorite dark romance of the year, God of Fury, Rena Kent. Nikolai and Brandon are just like my Roman Empire. I think about them all the time. And probably one of my favorite audiobooks of all time. I just listen to it all the time. If we counted the amount of times I listen to the audiobook as rereads, probably at least 4 times. It's just a good one for me to listen to in the background when I'm at work. I don't know why. But I really, 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 really love this one. Highly recommend. But I would read the whole series. The other ones obviously aren't as good as God of Fury. This is like in its own world, in my opinion. But you get little hints of them throughout. I feel like you get a lot of information about everyone in the series. And then it leads you to Kiss the Villain, which is another series, but you know. Anyways, let's not get too far off track here. And then, see, this is also like a dark romance, but it's like a mystery dark romance-ish. The Mindfuck series. Really, really, really love this one. This will be my favorite gay dark romance of the year and my favorite hetero straight dark romance of the year. I don't know, this one just like blew me away. I always knew people said really good things about it, but I honestly really underestimated it. I would check trigger warnings. There was one scene, I believe it's in book 4. It's either in book 4 or book 5, because this is all 5 books. And I was feeling a little woozy reading it, and I don't get like that too often. So I would definitely check trigger warnings on this one. But I do highly, highly, highly recommend this book. I honestly highly recommend all of these books. And then this can't be my mid-year check-in favorites without Rewind It Back, obviously. Last book in the Windy City series. My boy Rio and my girl Hallie. I just love them to death. Rio came very, very close to my #1 book boyfriend. Almost beat out Ryan Shea, which no one's ever come close. Rio is close. The closest I've ever gotten, so. And of course it would also be by Liz, so. I miss this world already. I'll probably do rereads throughout 2026. And then my last favorite from my mid-year check-in, hat trick, Chelsea Curto. Book 4 in the DC Star series. We have the athletic trainer and obviously hockey player. He gets in a car accident, loses his leg. They work together for the rehabilitation. Great book overall, obviously. The mental health representation in it just hit really hard. And I just really enjoyed this one. This might be my favorite of the entire DC Star series. And then I'm not gonna grab the books, because if I grab all the honorable mentions from both mid-year check-in and the second half of the year, we're gonna be here forever. So I'm just gonna say them out loud. Some honorable mentions from my mid-year check-in. Unloved, Peyton Corinne, Onyx Storm, Rebecca Yaros. Wildside, Elsie Silver. Out on a Limb, Hannah Bodum Young. Nightshade, Autumn Woods. Kiss the Villain, Rena Kent. And then Beautiful Venom, also Rena Kent. Those are my honorable mentions for the mid-year check-in. Oh, and then my least favorites. My least favorites from my mid-year check-in were Isaac, Unmasking Obsession, and then the duology, Blood Orange and Black Rose. But we're not going to go any further into those. Okay. Now, my favorites from the second half of the year. First up, we have Sawyer by Jessica Peterson. This is the 3rd book in the Lucky River Ranch series. Pretty sure I've mentioned this on my channel before. Small town cowboy romance, if you can't tell by the cover. They're both single parents, which I've never read before. Usually it's just like single mom or single dad. They're both single parents, which I love. And one of my favorite things about this book is the communication. I am huge in communication. I feel like I say that a lot on my channel. And these two are like communication 101. And I love their little girls. So, what can I say? Great book. Highly recommend the series as well. And then one of my other favorite fantasies of the year, Court of Mist and Fury. This whole series was really good. I knew it was probably hyped up for a reason, but I never really understood why it was so hyped up until I read it. And I completely understand it. This book was great. I flew through this series way too quickly. I probably should have taken my time more with this, but I did not. Just, everyone knows Rhysand. Like, duh. This was just a really good book. Probably my favorite of the series. I always go back and forth between Court of Mr. Fury and A Court of Silver Flames, which is not a full mention, by the way. Spoiler alert. And then my favorite mystery of the year is definitely going to be Not Quite Dead Yet, which is also part of my favorites. This book, let me tell you, I highly, highly, highly recommend this book. If you have not read it yet, it, like, it's so good. I don't know how else to explain it. And it's heartbreaking and thrilling and leaves you questioning everything. I just don't know how to explain it very well. When I love something a lot, I don't know how to explain it, but highly, highly recommend. Hallie Jackson's just a great author overall. I believe this is her first adult mystery. It's just really good. A girl, Jet, her family is one of the wealthiest families in the town. And on Halloween night, I read this around Halloween, which was also great. Highly recommend reading it around Halloween. Jet gets attacked in her family house and she gets a head injury that will cause a aneurysm within a week's time. So she has a week to figure out who killed her, essentially. Very good. I will never listen to Stick Season by No Account the Same ever again. If you know, you know. Another one of my favorites, and probably my favorite new author of the year, because I've never read this author before. Ali Hazelwood, Love Hypothesis. That's right, I finally got into Ali Hazelwood. About damn time, I know. And probably my favorite new author of the year. I'm not a big science girly, never have, never will be. But this was great. This made me like science. And I'm really excited for this adaptation, actually. I hope it turns out good. Also, I just love this. I got the collector's edition. So I didn't have a copy of this book. But I love this edition. I love it so much, I don't mind that it's hardcover. You can fall in love, someone will catch you. That's what the back says anyways. Favorite new author of the year that I've read. Favorite new author to me. And I feel like this can't be a favorites video without bringing up my favorite couple ever, which is also now my favorite TV adaptation, Heated Rivalry and The Long Game. Yes, I know I picked 5 favorites for the first half and the second month, but this is like, you can't have one without the other. It's a package deal. I like The Long Game better than Heated Rivalry. I've come to that conclusion. I'm so excited for this to get adapted. That's a whole other thing. Everybody's talking about it right now. I don't need to also be talking about it, even though I'd love to. But that's not what this is about. These two just captured my heart, took it, stole it. They can keep it. I don't care. And yesterday, the cover for Unrivaled was released. I'm so excited to see them again. It's such a good time to be alive. But yes, if you haven't heard of Heated Rivalry, you're obviously living under a rock. And if you're living under a rock, you've probably not even finding this video. But go watch the series. Read the books, please. This reminded me of something Ilya says in the show. Anyways, we're gonna put this down. So I guess if we go by my favorites of the first half of the year and the second half of the year, I guess you could say these are my favorite reads of the year, my top 10, 11. Get them all up on a pile. Oh, it's a pretty good stack. Lots of romance, but romance is my favorite genre, so obviously this is a very good stack. I do have to say. Okay, let's move on without dropping all these. Okay, back on track. We're talking about the second half of the year. I mentioned my favorites: Heated Rivalry, Long Game, Love Hypothesis, not quite dead yet, Sawyer, A Court of Mist and Fury. That's a lot. Those are my favorites. Some honorable mentions: Duke by Jessica Peterson, Mate, Ali Hazelwood, Listen for the Lie, Amy Tintera, Wild Card, Elsie Silver, Court of Silver Flames, Sarah J. Maas, Fighting Spirit, Anna Harrison. Love that book, by the way. Not very well known. Check it out if you would like to read a cute little college romance. Sable Peak, Devney Perry, and For the Fans, Nyla Kay. Those are some honorable mentions from the second half of the year. And my least favorites of the year, so sad because I wanted to love both of these so bad, but my least favorites of the second half was Homebound by Meredith Trapp and Tough Guy by Rachel Reed. Ooh, I know. Ooh, I know. Considering Heated Rivalry and Long Game, yeah, I know. I just couldn't. I'm sorry. Don't come for me. It's one of my rare unpopular opinions. But we're just gonna cut that there. We don't need to go in the details about it right now. But yeah, that, I guess, wraps up the books. I don't know how much more to go in the detail without boring everybody. So let's just move on to 2026. Let's talk about this year because we're already in it. 2026. Gonna be a good year. Not only in life, for life in general, but for reading, obviously. So my goal for 2026 is to read 50 books. Yes, I know I read 109 last year. So you'd think, oh, maybe your goal should be 100. No. We're gonna keep it low because I have a fear of getting in slumps and not meeting the goal. And 50 is honestly the highest goal I've ever set for myself for reading. So we're doing 50, which is going well so far, by the way. But we're not going to talk about that here. I would love to read more fantasy. I have a whole shelf this size over there, full of fantasy stuff. Because I primarily read romance, as everybody seems to know. Well, everybody does know. Romance is my top genre. But I do love fantasy, and I just need to read more considering I have the whole shelf, as I said. So I want to read more fantasy. I have a few mysteries I'd like to read. I should dive more into fictions because I have a few fiction books. But I'm not going to pressure myself for that too much, so my main goal is to read more fantasy. And I do have a 26 for 2026 books, TBR. That video is coming soon. I have filmed it already, but I'm going to be posting this one first. Just to get 2025 out of the way, you know. I'm very excited for those. Got some good stuff coming up for 2026. TBR. Let's hope I can read all of them because I did not complete my 2025 TBR. Maybe I'll put that here. You can kind of see, you can see the green X's. That's what I've read. I've told you I've never finished a TBR, so it's honestly not surprising I didn't finish my 2025 TBR. And only one of these books made it onto my 2026 TBR, so I don't know, man. I don't know. Don't ask me questions. But let's go into some of my most anticipated releases for 2026. It's a good year for release. Oh my god, I have to add Unrivaled to it. Sorry. Jesus Christ. Keep your tongue in your mouth, Caitlin. Hold on. I've got to add Unrivaled to this. Okay. Updated my list. Let's go. Most anticipated releases for 2026. This isn't my entire list of releases for 2026. These are just my most anticipated. If you want to see a 2026 releases video, I can do that soon. It just might not be here till like February. I'm a little behind on my videos, as you can tell, because of when this was posted. Anyways, I cannot stay on track today. I apologize. Most anticipated 2026 releases. First off, In Her Own League, Liz Tom 40 comes out March 3rd. I love Liz. I say this all the time. I would read anything she writes. Like, I'd look at her grocery list. I don't know, man. I love Liz. All of her books are great. Windy City series is probably my favorite series of all time. And The Right Move is my favorite romance book of all time, with Ryan Shea being my #1 book boyfriend, so it all makes sense. Very excited for Monty and Reese's book. Get to see some people from Windy City. Very excited. Okay, next. Hunt the Villain, Rena Kent. This comes out March 24th. Very, very excited. I've been waiting for these two to have a book. It's been hinted since Legacy of God series. I'm pointing up there because you can't see it, but I have the Legacy of God series up on the top of my shelf. Just very anticipated release for me. Especially for the initiation scene. We've seen everybody else's initiation scenes except for Vaughn. So... And then, Rights of Starling, Daphne Perry, comes out April 7th. As I said before, this comes out 3 days after my birthday, so it's like a birthday treat to me. So very excited. I'm also very looking forward to a reread of Sheila Sparrows, because I will be doing that beforehand. I'm so excited to see where it goes. And this is Daphne Perry's first, like, romantic-y series. And it's so good. And then also releasing on April 7th, writer Jessica Peterson. I thought this was the last book of the series, but then when she announced a pre-order for Rider, the next page, there was a book called Colt, which Colt is a character in the books. He's the brother of the female main character in Rider. So I don't know if it's the end of the series or not. If Colt's the last one, I don't know. But I'm very excited for Rider. Been looking forward to this one pretty much since I started the series. And then we get into Elsie Silver. She has a release coming out May 19th. Fever Dream. Obviously looking forward to this. Elsie Silver. All in the same universe still. We're just heading to Emerald Lake. Emerald Lake? Yeah. And we're getting Julie Silva? Can't remember if it's Julia or Julie. I always mix it up. Which means we're gonna get some Theo cameos. And I love Theo. He's my favorite man of the Chestnut Spring series. Probably a top contender for #1 book boyfriend as well, besides Ryan Shea and Rio. And then next we have another Rena Kemp book coming out June 26th. We have Tempting Venom. I love my MM romances. Rena Kemp's been spitting out MM romances since God of Fury, and I love it. I'm intrigued to see where this one goes because of how Sweet Venom had a lot of these too, which is the book before Tempting Venom if you don't know. And there's some things that happen in Sweet Venom that are obviously going to correlate into Tempting Venom, so I'm just intrigued to see where they're going to go from here. And then my next anticipated release, Daydream Autumn Woods. I read Nightshade in like May, I believe. And I closed the book, and the first thing I said was, when's the next book? When I asked that question, I didn't have an answer because there was nothing online about it. But now there is. This comes out July 30th. I don't think I mentioned that. I'm very excited about this. Great academia romance. Highly recommend not Daydream. Hello? That's not even... Highly recommend Nightshade. Prep for Daybreak. I forgot Unbound. That comes out in April. Unbound, Painting Her In. Very excited for that. I actually received the arc through NetGalley, and I've been trying to wait to read it, which I'm actually been doing pretty good. I want to wait till it gets a little bit closer to the release to read it. I'm really excited for it. Second Chance. Ooh, I'm excited. And they were hinted at and a lot in Unloved, and I love Unloved. That was a great book. I'm really excited to see what happened to these two characters because it is Second Chance. Like, what happened? Back to the right order. Obviously, I've talked about this already. Unrivaled, Rachel Reed comes out September 29th. I'm so excited. I'm giggling. Help me. Just Shane and Ilya, man. I don't know what to say. I just love them so much. So we're gonna move on before I do something drastic. And then the last two I have for my most anticipated releases for 2026 don't have release dates. They just say they're coming out in 2026. But one of my favorite authors, Chelsea Curto, the last two books of the DC Star series, Crosscheck and Weakside, are coming out this year. No date released yet. She also has In Stormy Weather coming out in July. Very excited for that. However, I didn't want to put all of my releases, like all the releases in this video, which is why I've not included that. And I'm also kind of anticipating Crosscheck and Weakside more, considering we've seen the characters a little bit more, they're a little bit more established. So Crosscheck is Grant's book, and him and Amelia, the NHL coach. Very excited to see how that one plays out, because it asks a big question of, if they're going to be together, what's going to happen? Is she can't become the head coach for the DC Stars because we have Brody. So is he gonna retire? He gonna quit? He gonna transfer? Is she gonna quit? We'll see. Is she gonna, we'll see sometime this year. I don't know when. Don't have a release date yet. And then Weakside is Ethan's book. We haven't met the female main character yet in the series, but we know she is the equipment manager. So we should be meeting her in Crosscheck. And I'm very excited. That one's an accidental pregnancy. I love an accidental pregnancy. I say this all the time. Unpopular opinion, apparently. When I know it's an accidental pregnancy, I will eat it up. If it just like comes randomly and it's not even like needed in the pot, Anyways, those are some of my most anticipated releases for 2026. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to mention in this video. If you have any ideas or any videos that you want to see from me, let me know down below. I get in a lot about what to do. And as if you can tell on my channel, a lot of the time it's just TBR videos. Because I love TBR videos. And those are just really easy for me to make. So if you have any video ideas down below. I'm also trying not to buy a lot of books this year. Right now, I'm kind of on a book buying ban, but I also don't have my most anticipated release list. The first one isn't until March. So I'm really going to try to not buy books until then. Well, that's a lie because I already pre-ordered Unrivaled and bought a few books a few days ago. But those books I've read and I really like them. Anyways, I don't need to explain that to you. If you want to see anything specific, let me know. If there's any vlogs, any specific books you want me to read, let me know. You will also see my 2026 TBR, my 26 or 2026 video very soon as well. That will be my next video out after this. So subscribe to see that, to be notified when it comes out, because I don't have a set date for when that comes out, because this has to come out first. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this little yap session. Comment down below something. I don't know. Maybe what was your favorite book of 2025? Let me know down below. Also, let me know what your most anticipated release for 2026 is. That'd be fun as well. Or just a book you're looking forward to reading in 2026. But yeah, thanks for watching. Love you guys. Like, subscribe, all those YouTube stuff. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.